Hello again YouTube. Today I'm going to show you how to make a vibrating kitty litter scoop. If you've got cats you'll understand why that might be useful. We've got two cats and we use a clumping litter. It's called Cat's Best. The litter, it's a natural product, so it's an organic, I think it's a wood fibre product, and when the cats use it, it clumps together and you basically lift out the contaminated piece of litter and you can flush it down the toilet. Because it's totally organic and it breaks down and back into a powder when it's flushed, it's compatible with flushing down the loo. So not only is an environmentally friendly product because you're not throwing away a whole tray worth of litter, it's also biodegradable, so it's a good solution. Okay, so the parts you'll need a large litter scoop, and this is the large scoop which is available from Pets at Home in the UK. So if you're not in the UK you'll have to find your own equivalent, but you're looking for a scoop that's got a large cavity in the back of the handle, big enough to fit a small motor and a battery. You'll need a motor. This is a small generic DC motor. I don't know what the voltage rating is. I think it's very low. It's certainly lower than the 9 volts that I'm going to put through it, but I've tested it and it's fine. This came from an electric toothbrush, and if you're struggling to find a motor, then if you go into any of the pound shops or dollar shops, whatever you want to call them, you'll find they sell cheap toothbrushes and they've got a motor inside, so you can steal that. I don't mean steal from the shop, I mean buy it and then steal it from the product. You'll need a drill bit. This drill bit is, I think this is the 3.5, and the drill bit's just for drilling a hole big enough for the button to come through. You'll need a button cell, a PP3 cell battery, a square battery, and battery leads. You'll also need a hot melt glue gun and some electrical tape just to finish the product off. Now the motor itself, the motor does the work, and the motor just spins, so you'll need a counterweight, you need a weight. So what I've used here is 2 little nuts just tied together with some solder, and I found this works quite well. I'm going to attach that to the motor using a small cable tie, and I'll probably put some hot melt glue on it as well just to keep it stable. But these are the parts that you'll need. Okay, so I'm just going to apply a little bit of solder to the legs of the micro switch. It just gives it, it means that there's already solder on there, and it's easier to put the wires on. It's easier to get the wires to solder on if there's already some solder on there. So I'll just attach these. There we are. Okay, so that's the switch now soldered up. I'm just going to put a little bit of heat shrink over the legs. It just prevents it from shorting out because the motor's going to be sitting above it. Okay, so I want one side of this to go to my motor, and I'll put it onto the positive side here. Let's use the other one, the one that's got less solder on. want to do with this is I want the negative to go straight to the motor. So I want my motor to be sitting about here. Battery's going to be up the top, so we'll assume it's going to be this way round. So I want my cable to be about this long. It doesn't matter too much if there's a little bit of slack. You can always tuck that in somewhere, but if it's too short, that's the problem. Okay, now we want the other side of the positive to connect to this wire here. So I'm not going to cut it back too short, I'm just going to keep them both roughly the same. Again, we can tuck that under. So one last thing to do before we assemble this into the scoop is to fix the weight. So these are just two nuts with some solder. It doesn't need to be that. You can find anything. You can find a little bit of metal and drill a hole in it and glue it on. Basically anything that's going to give the motor enough weight, enough weight to be off centre. So I'm just using these because this is what I had lying around, and all I'm going to do here is use a little cable tie to secure it, tying it up as much as I can, snip the end off the cable tie, and that's reasonably secure. But I am just going to put a little bit of hot melt glue on that, just in case it decides to come loose slightly. Okay, we're now ready to put our assembled motor into the litter scoop. Before I do that, I just want to test it to make sure that it works and it vibrates as much as I need it to. So keep a good hold of this because it could get quite violent. Oh yeah, that's quite a shudder, so that'll do the job. So the first thing we want to do is we want to install the switch. So if we just put that down in the hole, you can feel it come through the other end. And take your hot melt glue just glue it in place. And just need to be careful with this because the glue comes out very hot. You don't want to get it on your fingers. Okay. So you just want to let that sit and cool down. Make sure that it's still protruding through the hole. But if I press it now, it will come away. So I just make sure it's lined up properly. And we'll just leave that for a few minutes until the glue cools down sufficiently for it to hold. Okay, so I'm now gluing the motor into the litter scoop, and you want to use plenty of glue here because the glue is what holds the motor into the scoop. So that's where the vibration from the motor comes through this glue. So you want to make sure you've got plenty in there. You can put some over the motor terminals at the back. That doesn't matter so much, but try not to put any at the front where the actual counterweight is. You want to leave that clear. And again, you want to leave this until that's set quite well. Just make sure that it's lined up properly and that the head of the motor can turn and it's not fouling anything. And we'll leave that to cool down, leave it to set. Okay, so before we connect the battery, we need to make a little finger guard, simply because when this rotates, it comes up far enough that you can catch your fingers on it. So what I have here is just a little strip of plastic that I've cut from a lid, and it's a lid from a pack of these cotton buds or Q-tips, and I've just cut a little strip, just 3 inches, 2.5 to 3 inches long by just about less than an inch wide. And what I'm going to do is put this in here, just have it sit over the rotating part of the motor, just as a finger guard. I just want to make sure that it will clear the motor. It'll still leave enough room for the motor to run, but it won't let you touch it with your fingers. Once that's in place, I'm just going to put a piece of electrical insulation tape around that, just to hold it in place. There we are. Okay, so the motor can now spin freely, but this will stop you from touching it. So the last piece to go in is the battery, and I just want to connect this like so. Put the battery in this direction, and again I'll hold that in with a piece of electrical insulating tape. Okay, there we are. So that's it. Your litter scoop's now ready to test, and if we press the button, that will vibrate away quite nicely. I'll now go and test it in the litter tray, and I'll show you how it works. Okay, so that was my how to build a vibrating litter scoop. I've built a few of these now. I've been using them now for a couple of years, and they save you quite a bit of time, quite a bit of effort, especially first thing in the morning when you're trying to get ready and the litter tray needs emptied. The last thing you want to be doing is down on your knees for 5 or 10 minutes cleaning out a litter tray. So the scoop makes it a lot easier. If you are going to build it, just bear in mind that safety first. Make sure that people can't touch. Make sure you can't touch the rotating part of the motor with your fingers. And if you are going to use any resistors to bring the current down a little bit, make sure you use resistors that are big enough and that they're not going to heat up and melt or burn your fingers. But that's it. So it's quite a straightforward project if you find the right motor, and I hope you manage to build yours. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you like this video, and I'll see you in the next one.